What up, what up? Welcome on into Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we're talking spring football as we'll hear from Dave Aranda, plus some more thoughts on the Final Four. And Baylor men's golf wins the Aggie Invitational. All that and more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Monday, April 8th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Bear insider Jerry Hill. Jerry, happy solar eclipse day.
It's here. I mean, seems like that's about the only thing everybody's been talking about for weeks now. So finally here, we'll get to see it in just a little bit. So, and then it's, 4 minutes and then it's over. So I don't know. I'm probably not as excited as I should be, but we'll see.
I'm with you on it. I guess I'm a party pooper. I'm kind of like, and no disrespect to people that are into it, to each his own. I mean, I love NASCAR, and I realize a lot of people don't. Okay, I grew up around it. I love cars. I love driving fast. So stay out of my fast lane on I-35. I'll go around you. But yes, the solar eclipse. I will say, though, it is unique that we're in one of the best locations, and there's a bunch of people that have never maybe been to Waco or don't frequent Waco often that are around town. I think that's a great thing. Hey, if it's great for Waco, it's great for Baylor. And so that's the positive I'll take away.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, there's going to be a lot more people in town. Hopefully they're going to be going to restaurants, maybe even staying in hotels, in and around Baylor. So I think that part, like you said, is a good thing. I just hope they leave once it's over. Like, we need to get them out of town and get back to normalcy. And this is our town, that kind of thing. That's the grumpy old me. Like, get out. The eclipse is over. Get back out. You need to go back wherever you came from.
Okay, a little inner Clint Eastwood vibes there from Jerry Hill. Get off my lawn, right? But okay, let's move on over to the Final Four. Obviously, the men's is going on in Phoenix, and the women's just wrapped up in Cleveland, Ohio. And I gotta admit, Jerry, at least on my end, man, I've been right a lot. This is just I don't know. I'm really liking what's been going on these last couple of weeks. My vibe's been good. My pick's been good. Bit of a fortune teller. I'll say, too, you've been pretty good yourself, too.
Well, of course I have. I'm basically a college basketball aficionado, so I know what's going to happen. I thought for a minute that, particularly when they jumped out to a lead like that, I thought Iowa might pull off the upset. Not that it would have been a huge upset, but they got up. I think it was 10-0, right out of the bat. So, but yeah, kudos to South Carolina. They're just a lot deeper than Iowa. They have a bench. I believe, if I heard this right, I don't think Iowa's bench scored a point. And whereas South Carolina had one player off the bench that scored 19 by herself. So I think that was probably the difference in the game. I mean, Caitlin Clark still scored 30 points, only scored 12 in the last three quarters. But South Carolina is just kind of maybe a step above everybody else. And I believe, if I heard this right, Justin, they're the ninth women's team to go undefeated in a season.
Yeah, 38-0. It's not the 40-0 that the 2012 Baylor women's basketball team have. So we'll still say the 2012 team was better than South Carolina. 2 more wins in the books. But yes, we telegraphed this, right? We talked about it. We said that South Carolina was more athletic. They were deeper. They just had more players, more pieces. And this game was every bit of that. You look at Caitlin Clark. We said that she could score in the 30s and Iowa would still likely lose. And that's exactly what happened. Actually, I thought it'd be a little bit closer, 87-75, 12-point win for the Gamecocks. I thought maybe it'd be 5-10, but only 5 players, as you said, Jerry, scored for Iowa. A goose egg off the bench. Doesn't help when you only play 18 minutes off the bench. 3 players for Iowa played the entire 40 minutes, so that shows their depth. And then South Carolina, they had 9 different players score in this game, just way too much. So give credit to South Carolina, 38-0. national champions there. Of course, tonight, the big game on the men's side. It's number 1 UConn versus number 1 Purdue, two of really the top 3 teams in the country all season long, along with Houston. And so no big surprise that these two teams made it. A lot of times this is chalk. And a lot of times you think chalk doesn't work, but it did work in this instance. And our picks are out there on the record. We got UConn over Purdue. I think it's going to be a close game, 5 to 10 points. I think Zach Edey can probably score 30 plus. But UConn, very similar to South Carolina, they have a deeper team, more athletic. I think the guards win this one. The guards for UConn are just too good compared to Purdue's guards. We'll see it and how it plays out tonight in Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think if UConn forces the kind of turnovers that Purdue had in their last game in the semifinal, I think UConn could kind of run away with it. Purdue really struggled, and particularly, Zach Edey, when they got the ball into him, he kind of fumbled it around a little bit. I don't think Purdue can afford to have those kind of mistakes, against UConn. I just think UConn is that team. Again, they've been, pretty much unbeatable. And, they just seem like they're on a mission. And it's crazy, Justin. I mean, I think they lost, is it 4 starters from last year? And here they are back in the national championship game with a chance to win. Maybe we give, Danny Hurley some more props for what he's done with this team.
Yeah, going back to back, we know how difficult that is. The target on your back. We saw it with Baylor in 2021. I think if that Baylor team was healthier with James Akinjo and LJ Cryer and, of course, Jonathan Chachua, who got injured, all those pieces, maybe Baylor could have went back-to-back a couple years ago. But, yes, Dan Hurley doing a great job with UConn. And so we'll see how that one plays out. Hey, there's a lot of office pools around the country. Of course, being official members and working full-time for Baylor Athletics, we don't bet, but there's bragging rights on the line. And so I don't know where you guys were on the athletic communication staff and where everybody stuck out. But on the women's tournament, I won that. Okay, Jerry. I don't usually win. Usually the more you know about these teams in basketball and the more basketball you watch, it's actually a detriment to the tournament sometimes. But won that one. And Hannah Kolarik from our football creative team looks like she's going to win the men's one. So shout out to her. And just beat out Kyle Brott and Josh Freilich on the women's side. So I'm feeling good. That's my treat for April. I won the women's bracket.
Hey, congrats, because I did not win either of ours. We did kind of AFCOM, marketing, fan engagement, a little bit of everything, because Hannah was in ours too, and she or Katie, I believe, are going to win the men's bracket. It may depend on who wins the final game, but one of them will win the men's bracket. I'm not sure who won the women's bracket. I know Cody Soto was one of them in the running for that. Obviously I did have the national champion. I think I finished maybe in the top 5 on the women's side, and we had almost 30 brackets. So I feel pretty good about that. And I was probably up in the top 8 or so on the men's side, and particularly if UConn wins it, that'll give me a good bracket on that side as well.
How much did it help that you've been listening to me all season long? I mean, you got to give me an assist or something for helping you on the bracket, right?
0. Justin, I don't know if you know this, and I thought I told you this fairly frequently, but I rarely listen to you other than maybe a little bit on this podcast. I rarely listen to you, so I kind of tune you out. So no, you do not get any assist on my brackets, because I can promise you on any kind of picks like that, and maybe I will next time. Maybe since you've shown your prowess, maybe I should listen to you next time.
Wow, this hurts. You're like my kids. Take it in one ear, out the other. My 14-month-old probably listens to me more than you listen. So, wow, pretty rough. I'll say, hey, one time I got a 99.9 percentile for ESPN.com. Now, I did fill out more than one bracket. I did not do 20 or 10 or anything like that. It was like 2 or 3. This was probably maybe like a 10 years ago. And I think I might have had 3 or 4 picks that were wrong. This was before I was working at Baylor. But, it's about being lucky. Okay, I would say it takes a lot more luck than being good on those. But always fun and a great time of the year, March, nonetheless. And looking forward to next season, which will be right around the corner. And also looking forward to spring football and the spring football game, April 20th at noon Central from McLean Stadium. You can also watch it on Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. Always fun. Here's Dave Aranda after the second scrimmage of the spring.
I thought today was really productive. I thought there's good energy on both sides, and so that was something that's been consistent throughout these practices. The emotions and the energy has been there from the beginning, and so that's just way cool to see. Ever since really the walkthroughs and the winter conditioning, that's been the case with this team, and so that's just continued to be that way. And so excited for that and what can become with that. I thought the execution was good. I thought offensively connected on some deep balls today, which was really good. I thought the passing game in terms of the vertical game was probably its best today that it's been really all throughout spring. And so I think it can be a launching point there.
That's the head coach of the Baylor football team, Dave Aranda. And Coach, you can listen to the full press conference after the media availability over on Baylor Athletics YouTube or also on the Baylor football Facebook page. Coach talking a lot about the vertical game, of course, the spread offense, up-tempo, Jake Spavital on board, and really music to a lot of people's ears, the vertical game. And I think, Jerry, we're going to see that vertical game as much or more than any team that we've seen since the 2016 season. That was 8 years ago. It's going to bring back a little bit of that feel and look out there.
Yeah, I think it could potentially be a very exciting offense because I think Jake Spavital is going to be, kind of pushing the limits. He's going to be trying to get the ball downfield, trying for the big hits. And yeah, I think that's going to be an exciting part of this offense. And like we've talked about before, you also have kind of a stacked backfield there. And Jake and Coach Aranda, everybody has made the point of, it's not like they're going to completely abandon the run. They're going to use the run. It's just going to look a little different now that you don't have the wide zone. So I think they've got a lot of talent in that backfield. So I think they're going to use that. But there's some really good receivers that can stretch the field as well. So I'm excited to see that, Justin. Hopefully we see some of that on the 20th. I'm not sure if they'll show everything since other people can see that, but I think that'll be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be pretty vanilla on the field a little bit. And that's how these teams, right? You don't want to show your hand, the film and getting ready for the offseason here is that's just around the corner and get ready for the summer. But I think, you think about this offense, you think about the downfield play, and I'm really excited to watch the wide receivers because when you go to a new offense, and a lot of times it's a fresh, clean slate for these guys. And some guys, philosophically or fit or scheme, they fit better in different styles. And so I'm excited to see kind of which guys, particularly on the wide receiver area, take off that maybe weren't having the same success last season.
Yeah, I mean, I think of guys that have been around for a while, a guy like Monterey Baldwin. I know they've talked about using a slot type receiver more. I'm assuming that he would probably fit into that mode. But Hal Presley, Keytron, I mean, a lot of guys coming back that you could see making a real impact this year, particularly in this type of offense. And then you've got quarterbacks that can get it there as well. These are guys, with big arms that can get the ball downfield, and that's a key to this offense as well.
You spoke about the running backs. I mean, you can make a case that Baylor has one of, if not the strongest running back room in the Big 12 conference. And so a lot of focus here on the offense. Defensively, we know Dave Aranda will call the plays this fall, and that's going to bring a new wrinkle to Baylor's defense. Your thoughts on that, Jerry, what you're seeing out there at practice and how much different the look may be next fall?
Yeah, I think anytime, a guy like Dave, a defensive mind like him, gets more involved, it's going to be an impact. And I think the players get excited, knowing that their head coach is working with them, particularly with those linebackers that he's, kind of hands-on with maybe more than any other position. Those guys are excited to have him over there. And I think you're going to I think you're going to see a very aggressive unit. I think you're going to see a group. I think the linebackers could make a big step this year. I thought that was maybe kind of one of the weaker points last year. I think it takes a good jump this year. And with Matt Jones back for as long as he's been around, Matt is one that seems really rejuvenated by having Dave Aranda there. Having a new linebackers coach in. So I could see this group in particular making a big jump from last year to this year.
Matt Jones. So I'm watching a press conference the other day, media availability session. I'm like, we focused on basketball the last 3 months or so, and it almost slipped my mind that he's back for another year. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, Matt Jones, you're still here? He's I think he's been here so long, he might have gray hairs like us.
And he's getting a lot of that, like Bryson Jackson, obviously last year in his 7th year was getting a lot of the grandpa talk and the old man in the room. And now Matt's on the other side of that. He's the old guy. But he decided to come back. He obviously could have, gone on. He could have transferred even, and I think that was something that he even thought about. But I think one of the things that kept him here and why he's excited about this year is just talking with Dave Aranda and the rest of the defensive coaches. He knows how motivated they are to put that 3-9 behind them and move on to this year. But yeah, he's kind of the old guy in the room. There are a couple of guys that are, by years actually older than him, but particularly in that linebacker room, he is the old guy.
Yeah, and as we've seen with college basketball, right, having some older guys really helps you get old, stay old mentality. And let's not forget, for all the Baylor family out there, Baylor Nation, a lot of the players, that were really talented, the freshmen and sophomores, they're back this season. So there's a lot of excitement. Of course, Caden Jenkins, I know he was a big fan favorite last season. We'll see him back this fall. Here's Dave Aranda on some of the best players or guys that have stood out so far in spring ball.
Keaton would be one. I think he's been one. Carl Williams been another one. Let's see. Tonga has been one. I think when there's a couple practices, we have call-ups and put-ups. So put-ups at the end of practice would be players say, hey man, this dude's doing a great job, let's put him up. And then a call-up would be, hey, we can have some improvement and stuff. And so Tonga was, I think, about first 3 or 4 days on the other side of that. And so for him, that's totally flipped now. And so I think he's totally made that transition and is really thriving now. And I'm excited for what can be. And then I think, offensively, I would probably go to Quan with just his improvement and his confidence and all of that. And so positive things.
Call up Jerry. I need to call you up, huh? For some of your performance on this show, huh?
I was trying to follow that call up, and what was the other one? Call up and
shout out.
Okay. So if I get a call up and we're talking about the podcast, do I get to be on a better podcast? Like maybe get a better host if I get a call up? Or maybe I go like network or something like that. Like, would that be a call up for me?
I think that'd be a call up to me. I see what you're doing there. Okay. I'm giving Jerry some hard times here, and he pushes it right back on me, and I don't have a lot to say. But okay, on a more serious note, though, Keaton Thomas was one of the guys that Dave was speaking of. 6'2", 226 pounds. This guy is built. Okay. He looks like a player. I mean, looks like a football linebacker, not a guy you want to see on 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. This guy's going to try to, push you back there, but really excited about Keaton. He's a great talker too. Enjoyed some of his media availability sessions, but you think about the guys, many of the guys he named there were transfers, right? Tonga and Daquan, Carl Williams, a returner, but there is a lot of new players. And I know we're going to have to, this offseason really, talk about these guys and get everyone on board in terms of knowing who they are, because there's a lot of newness to this team, but man, there's a lot of excitement right there.
And to me, that's a good sign. I mean, sure, you'd like for some of the, returners and people like the ones that have been around for a long time. But, I think maybe that's a deal where, is Dave Aranda going to call out Matt Jones, a guy who's been around here 5 or 6 years, or is he going to kind of point out guys that have really made jumps since they've been here? And these are guys that have only, most of the ones that he mentioned have only been here a couple of months, a few months. So, I think he's talking about the ones that have made the best jump during spring. And certainly that's encouraging, Justin. That means that they hit, on those transfers that they got in. And I agree with you on Keaton, man. I was there when he interviewed, with the linebacker group, and I was just really impressed with him. I mean, you're talking about a guy coming from junior college. Of course, he spent a year at West Virginia as well. But man, I was really impressed by him, just the way he handled it. And I will agree with you on the other part too. He is freaking chiseled. Like he just looks like something you would make in a lab or something, but he's very impressive.
Yeah, and you need that from the linebacker position. I mean, that's where you want to see a guy like that. Dom Richardson's another one of those guys over as a running back who can really pop you. And we've seen the success. And I'm really excited about where this football program is going in the spring and just, putting it all together. A lot of newness, and they'll have to, work through that. And this offseason, I think, is critical. Once the spring ball is over, Jerry, especially June, July, they start doing offseason conditioning workouts with Vic Valoria and his team. And then a lot of opportunity there for, players to spend time together. When you think about quarterbacks throwing to wide receivers, you think about the work that they can put in on their own time. That right there, that's the secret sauce. And what the Baylor football team's able to do together there, specifically the players, I think will be a key to how successful next fall will be.
Yeah, and you talked about, working in the weight room and stuff like that. It's amazing honestly, how much more time the strength coaches, spend around these guys year round than even the assistant coaches. So that's a deal where, they're going to make a difference this summer. I think you already saw a difference in some guys that came in last summer till now. And then I think you'll see that again, when we get back into like fall camp or whatever, you'll see some guys that have changed because of working with that strength program throughout the summer.
Yeah, and that's generally where you'll see the leaders. A lot of this, sometimes you'll see the leaders right away in the offseason conditioning, the January, February months. A few guys step up. Some will start to step up maybe during spring ball with results kind of showing like, hey, you can be a leader. Sometimes it's difficult to be that leader if you're not, putting it on the field. But then in the summertime, you can kind of narrow that thing down and find out who your go-to guys in terms of leadership are offensively, defensively, and that's something every team across the country will be looking forward to. And so no doubt we're looking forward to that again. Spring football game, April 20th, noon at McLean Stadium, and also available on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. And got to get a shout out to Baylor men's golf, cruising to an Aggie Invitational title. Mike McGraw winning his 50th career tournament as a head coach, Jerry.
I mean, he's had so much success. I mean, I believe, is it 20 of them that he's won here or something like that? So, obviously won a bunch at Oklahoma State as well. But, Mike McGraw is one of the most respected, golf coaches in America. And we've got him right here in River City. So, yeah, this was big for this team, too, to win a tournament like this. And here's the thing. They won basically with most of the 3 rounds without Johnny Kiefer. Like Johnny Kiefer, if you look at even the individuals that are ones that played as individuals, Johnny Kiefer was 6th on this team. And that's your guy. That's your All-American. That's the one who leads you. So they were able to do this without a lot of help from Johnny. So again, and you can count on him, particularly when you get to postseason play and stuff. So this might be a team that's kind of getting things together at the right time. Right before Big 12 tournament, right before, regional tournament, things like that. So this is a team that could be dangerous in the postseason, hopefully get another chance at the NCAA championships.
Yeah, because they're very dangerous as a match play team.
Right.
Mike McGraw and company, they really, really good in match play. So if you can get that far, of course, that's how the Nationals is decided at the very end when they get to the final 8 or so on. The win was Baylor's 59th win tournament in program history. Mike McGraw has now won at least one tournament in 9 of his 10 seasons in Waco. You just can't say enough about Mike McGraw. I mean, this is literally a living legend that is coaching Baylor men's golf team. I mean, this is one of the top coaches in collegiate golf over the last, several decades that we have here. I mean, I think a lot of people take that for granted. Maybe they don't dig into it or just kind of, relaxed about it. But I mean, we literally have a legend coaching our men's golf team.
And I would joke that he is the guy that wrote the book. He did write a book, and I have it on my bookshelf. So, this is a guy. You wonder kind of what golf coaches do. Like, I think on the high school level, it's a lot of van driving or bus driving or whatever. Mike McGraw is doing more than that here. He is a golf coach. He knows the game. He knows how to play it. And he knows how to get those points across to his players. And, kudos to him for another tournament win and what he's been able to do, in his 10 years here.
Yeah, and he said after the tournament win, winning any tournament is a thrill, but to be able to beat a team like Texas A&M on their home course is special. This was just the jumpstart these guys needed. So looking forward to what's to come here these next couple of months for Baylor men's golf to finish out the 23-24 academic calendar year at Baylor Athletics, one of just 9 teams still competing this spring for Baylor. The Bears on the men's golf side, they'll jump right back into action at the Arizona State Thunderbird Collegiate beginning Friday this week out in Phoenix, Arizona. That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Monday, and Sic 'em Bears.
Sic 'em Bears.